Hey everyone, this is Daniel, and in today's video we're going to talk about Power Apps working with SharePoint List Attachments. And we're going to cover everything you need to know about adding multiple attachments to a single SharePoint list item and how to go ahead and add them, view them, delete them, and even edit them. And to make the whole thing so much more easier using a combination of the patch function and an edit form, so there's less number of formula lines that you have to use. Now, before I go ahead and walk you through how to build it from scratch, let's go and take a quick demo. So what you have over here is a working model of it in a Canvas app. And as you can see in my gallery, if I do any selections, you can go and see the form, you can go and see the category and the attachments. But let's go and add a new one. So when I click on plus, the form immediately goes ahead and resets itself. I'm going to go and say, I think I'll add something which is work related, and then I'll add an attachment. Let me go ahead and put in an intro pic. Yep, that was a work related event. Let me go ahead and grab, say, something else. And as you can see, while I'm adding them, previews are showing up over here. And now I go ahead and click on save. And as I'm saving it, it goes ahead and adds a new item, and even the pictures show up over there. In addition, I can also go ahead and now delete it. So if I say delete that one, it goes ahead and gets deleted. And when I go and select it, it's in view. But when I click on edit, it gives me the edit functionality. And then I can go and say delete that one, and I'll save it. And it goes ahead and updates that over here. So this is what I'm going to show you. Hopefully this tickles your fancy. Stick around. But first, here's my intro video. So here's the backend SharePoint list, and I want to take a quick look at it. So we go to the settings, we go to list settings, and as you can see, there's the default title, and it's single line of text. I've kept it as required, and I went and added the category. The category is a choice type column, and that's when you see the personal and the work related. So if I go and select that, you can see that it is a choice, and I have the personal and work. And that's pretty much the simple format over here. Nothing else has been added. It's just a very simple SharePoint list, but I thought I'll show it to you anyway. All right, so now let's go ahead and start working on this. So I just went ahead and created a very simple app, just basically started the process, opened it up, saved it, gave it a name. And so the first thing I want to do is go ahead and make a connection to that SharePoint list. So I'll type in SharePoint, go to this place, click on one of my connections. It is my POC site, so it's a POC site. I don't want to sit and search for what it is. I'm just going to go and type the name. It's SharePoint, found it, connect. And we've got the basic and the most important thing started, which is we've got the connection set up over here, the data connection. Okay, so first thing is I want to go ahead and now take care of the onStart function. So because there's two very simple things I want to do on the onStart. One of them is I just get the user information ahead of time, who is the login user, one-time call, and we are done. But I'm also going to be using a variable, and in that variable will dictate what is going on in the form. Is it going on as an add or a view or edit? That variable is going to go ahead and control that. So that's why I just want to make sure that I do that at the app on start. So click on the app on start over here, and I'm going to type in the set function. And the set function I'm going to use is var form status, comma, and I'm going to start it by default as view. What that means is that no matter what happens, the form is always going to be in a view state. That's why I'm keeping that default over here. And this is the other one, which is var user, and I just call that as user. And so we've got two very important things already set up. Do a app run on start, and we've taken care of that. Cool. So next, let's start working on the galleries. I want to at least go get the SharePoint list that we've already created and start viewing it. So in that case, let me come over here to my insert, go to gallery, and I'll go grab this one for now. Even though we're just going to grab the few images, but we'll go ahead and grab this SharePoint list attachments over here because that's the image. We won't actually get an image coming in yet. So in this case, for the first gallery, all I want to do is actually just grab a title. And maybe I should have done two titles because I'll go and get the item name as well. So this is good. I'll keep that as is, and then I'll go ahead and put that guy a little bit up over here. Move that a little bit there. Just make it a little bit presentable. That's nice. Make that a little bit bigger over here because we're going to go and add some sub galleries to it, but we'll take care of that in the future. For now, this is just the image and the format that we have over here taken care of. Cool. All right, maybe I can just make that a little bit bigger. I don't want to get myself too ahead of myself over here. next, let's go and take care of the label and the text control. Now, what that means is, in the form, when I'm going ahead and building it for you, it's actually a combination of a patch and a edit form that I'm going to use. So for the patch section, I'm going to go ahead and patch the title and basically the its label over here. So that's the section I mean by getting the label. We are still going to use the edit form, but I'm going to go ahead and get the text set up because that will be used for our patch function. So this is going to be for the title, the actual SharePoint title column we have. This is where that data comes from. So in the text, I'm going to go ahead and say title. Since it's a label, I always change the display mode to view. And then here, I'll just change the, I take off the default. And over here for my list, sometimes I go ahead and add a default date and time. You can do that as well. That's what I did in my other one. I'll just leave this blank because we can go ahead and type that in. And this is the section for the gallery. So I'm going to actually, for the initial form. So I'm going to rename some stuff over here. I've got this as text. I've got that as library. Next, let me go ahead and drop in the edit form. So it's in forms. I grab the edit one. Remember that. It's got the form with the pencil on it. And here, I got to make sure I grab only two very specific things. So I'm going to go connect it to the data source. And in the edit fields, if you already remember from the demo, I only had two things, which was the category and the attachments. So therefore, I'll just come over here and I'll click on the, in the properties, I click on edit fields. I click on the, in the title, I'm going to click on the ellipses and I'm going to go ahead and remove it because I want to show only those two. And then back again in the properties, I'll put one column at a time and I'll leave that as vertical. And that will be, that's pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and now rename that form one just to form. And let me make sure I just save it. So I have it saved over here. Cool. Now, in addition to all of this, we'll be going ahead and adding a second gallery in here. And that second gallery is going to be an inside gallery. And that's only going to show us the images over there. Now, a few things I want to call out about that. Depending on how many images there are, size of the images, there can be a bit of a performance hit when the images load over there, and you might actually see that on my side as well. But this is the easiest way to do it, because otherwise, if you're going to go ahead and add sub images using just the images and getting links, that can actually cause a lot more work involved, more formulas involved. So when you add a sub gallery, there's just a little bit of performance hit, and some of you may not even notice it. But I've just been working with this so often that I kind of notice that if I add a sub gallery and there's especially images in it, then it takes that extra few seconds for it to load. May not be a problem, but I thought I'll call that out. So come back over here now to, remember, in the first gallery, I've selected a gallery row, and now I'm going to go ahead and insert another gallery, and I'll click on, actually what I should change that, because it's not vertical, it's going to be a horizontal. Delete it again, so let's repeat that. Come back over here, click on that, and I'm going to select horizontal. And in the horizontal, I am not connecting it to any list over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and now select it to this item attachments. Now this item attachments is the first gallery. It's selected the SharePoint list attachments list. It's this item. In other words, it's also the first gallery that you've added. That first gallery is this item. That is what this item is. It's not this item of the secondary gallery that you've added. And sometimes that's a little confusing, but it's very important that you understand that hey, this is actually the second gallery's this item attachment over there. Now I'll go and rename this to an image gallery so I can have some naming conventions consistent over here. And yeah, so I don't need that one. So I'll go and delete that. I don't need any of the titles. I just want to make sure that I have some images, and now we got to go ahead and mess around with this one because make it a little bit smaller, presentable. Yeah, cool. So just let me clean that up a little bit. Just kind of making it a little bit safer and a little bit cleaner. Safer means that I'm just monitoring to see, do I need to click on anything? Because right now this gallery's image is overlapping that 21. So if I had a button over there, then that button would not work because this one's overlapping it. No problem. If there was a button, I would just select that button, go into view, and then, go into home, and I would realign it to the front. Again, there's easy workarounds, but it's important that you go ahead and monitor all of that. Okay, so for the next few minutes now, we're going to focus on this attachment control data card value. Like I said, control data card value. So I come over here, that's the data card. I click on it again, and that gets me to the data card value. And now I'm going to add some formulas for both the on add file and on remove file. So when I come over here, it is going to be on the on add file and the on remove file. And it's a very simple formula. Basically, anytime a file is added, go ahead and take that attachment and save it into a temporary collection, and do the same thing. If it is removed, then go ahead and grab all the attachments and add it back again. Simple thing means is that anytime a change is made, I don't care what the change is made, just grab whatever is there, save it to the collection is what I'm doing. That way I don't have to keep track of how many there are. Do I need to count it? It makes it all complicated. Changes made, go ahead and clear the existing collection and then grab everything which is over there. That's why we use a clear collect. So you'll see what I'm doing. So okay, on add file, I do a clear collect. It's a clear collect, and I'm going to come up with a temporary attachments collection. And this one is data card value 3. So I'm going to say data card value 3 dot, and I should see attachments over there. And there you go. It's literally as simple as that. I click on now home. I do a Control C, and I go to the on remove file. And on the on remove file, I do the exact same over there. So it's pretty much simple. Again, just to recap on that is, I don't care what is going on. Did they add one? Did they add two? None of that. I just want to make sure that on a add file or a on remove file, grab all the collections, save it in the collection over there, and we should be golden. Now, in order for me to display that, I'm going to go ahead and add another attachments. Add another gallery to basically display that attachments. So what I need to do is I need to make a little bit of room over here. So now I'll come in here, go to the gallery, I'll grab this information. Again, now it's not going to be that list, but it is going to be the temp collections. So I'm glad that the Power Apps is smart enough to give me suggestions, and I'm going to take that suggestion. So I'll put this information over here, and I'll make it a little smaller because this is just going to be a preview. So almost this value, and it gives me a sample over there. So that sample is also going to be this value. So you're going to find this very interesting because what's happening is the text that we're going to see is actually going to be the attachment name, whatever the file name is and the file name's extension. And therefore that value comes from this item.value. But the image is also this item.value. And it's very important that you understand that because we want to view these SharePoint list images using the connector, which is the SharePoint list connector. That's why we don't add full SharePoint links over here, which is, whatever is the SharePoint.com, site name, list name, attachments, and then the file name over there. You don't put full URLs over here because that will not work when it's open up in the app. If you want it to work, you have to use the value function. And actually, I should deep dive on that one issue in a separate video. But for now, keep this in mind, is that don't put any full links, just use this item.value over here. Okay, and I don't think I'm going to need that, so I'll remove it. And what I'll do is I'll make this a little smaller because we might add at least 2 to 3 of them. So make that a little small over here, make that a little bit more smaller. Okay, so let me go and save that. And we are moving along. Okay, so next, let's focus on some icons. So I'll come up over here to our list itself. And in the list, I'll actually replace, I'll keep this first list. And in the first list, I'm going to go ahead and take that next, and I'll move the next up over here, or basically the view, I'll move that up a little bit. And in the view, I'm going to, in its on select, I'm going to add a formula to the variable. So I'm going to say when I'm clicking on that, use the var, change the formula of the status to this one over here. What that means is that if you are clicking on that icon, I want you to only set the value of that formula, of that variable to view, which means I only want to view the data over here, but just view it, nothing in the edit format. And so I go ahead and select that. What I do is I even add it at the entire gallery level. So in the gallery, in its items, and its on select, I can do the exact same thing. Go ahead and grab that there. Paste it. So what I did was, if the user goes and selects that icon, great, it'll go and set that value of the variable over there. If they go ahead and even do the on select for the entire item, great, the value of the variable will be set that way. In fact, while I'm thinking about it, let me go ahead and actually put a variable here, a label, and so we can actually see the value of what's going on. And I'm just going ahead and changing the text to view because we are just viewing it purposes. This is also a good time to go ahead and save it. So we went ahead and took care of that icon. Now I want to add another icon in that item. So I'll come in and I'm going to now go to icons and I'm going to add the trash one. And I'll smooth the trash over here. I'll make it a little bit smaller. And the trash's formula is going to be a very simple one. It's going to be the remove function. And in the remove function, I'm going to point it to the SharePoint links. And I'll say it is this item. This has been a very simple formula which is there, but again, I wanted to show it to you how this works right down to removing, which is the deleting piece. So I went ahead and added that. All right, so now let's go ahead and add two other important icons. So the first one is the add, and I'll add the add down here, maybe over there. And then I'll just do a Control-C and a Control-V. We're going to add the edit as well. So let me go ahead and change these names. This is my add. And this is going to be my edit. So I got the edit, and my edit is also going to be the edit icon. Icons added. Let's work on their formulas. All right, so for the first one, I'm going to add it. It's going to be basically a on select. Again, first I need to set the value. So right now when I'm clicking on it, I'm going to tell the variable that, hey, I need you to change over from the view to the new. So again, it's going to be set. And then the variable form status, comma, and I'll add that as new. And then I'm going to also make it as a new form. So when you click on it, obviously you want to add something new, which means if for whatever reason there was something going on over here, just reset that to a new one and everything will be good. So that's why the whole form, which is the form, I'm going to reset that as a new form. And that's going to be a new form, and it's called form. And I'll also go ahead and clear the temporary collection we have. Because if in the previous example, when you were going ahead and going through a process of adding images and the images are being displayed over there, now when it comes time to add a new one, based on that selection, I want to clear that collection over here. So I'm kind of just thinking ahead and making this very user-friendly so there's no confusion. It'll all make sense once you actually start building it as well. So I do that and I'll clear collected, and I think we are good for now. So we'll move over to the edit, and the edit is very simple. In fact, the edit is just going to be, I'm going to go and copy this set function over here, which is right there. Go to the edit, in the edits on select, I'll come in and I will now make that as edit. So we are golden over there. So click on that save. Nice. So while we are at it, let's go and add the last icon, and that icon is going to be the save one. Now in the save one, we're going to come back and visit that a few times because there's a bunch of things that need to be added over here. So let's just focus on the first piece, and then we'll add all the remaining ones. So the first piece is when you're going ahead and saving a data, I'm doing two things. I'm first going ahead and patching it. I'm patching it using just the title information over here. But in your case, you could go ahead and patch it with anything. Because remember, once it's patched, or if you're using a patch function, you're not bound by the limitations of the edit form design. So in my case, what I'm doing is I'm using this for the bare essentials, which is the category and the attachments. Because in this case, when it comes to a SharePoint, it is so much more easier to have those category column and the attachments in an edit form, because edit form does that magic. But for everything else, if it was just the choice type columns, if it was just the radio buttons or text, or I want to move stuff around, I've gone ahead and taken care of that. But what I have to do is it's kind of a two-step process. First, you go ahead and patch it. And when you patch it, you get that ID number of the SharePoint list to which you just created. This new SharePoint item that you just created, you get that ID number. And then using that ID number, you go ahead and patch it with the form over there. So it's kind of a two-step process, but it's really neat because it's a combination of patch and the edit form that does this magic for you. So let me show you what that formula means, okay? So I'll come over here on the save, and I'm going to make a little bit of work involved over here. So I'm going to actually add some comments for myself, and I'm going to say patch the title and the choice, okay? Choice, and get the list ID. Neat. So now let's go ahead and actually get a set function out over there, and I'm going to call that as temp collection. Now what does that mean? Theme collection in this case is that, hey, whatever you patched to that SharePoint list as an item, get me information of that item. And the one we are really keen about is basically that ID number, but it also gets some of the dates that are created. All right, that's why I kind of don't focus on, hey, just get me the ID. I focus on just get me everything for that item that was just patched. And this is the formula for the patch. So I'll go ahead and patch it. It's the IntelliSense is telling me, yep, you only got these two options. I'll select the SharePoint list, comma. This is the first patch, so I'm going to put in defaults. And again, the SharePoint list, close that, comma, open curly brackets. And I usually take my curly brackets there. Again, shift, enter, enter, curly brackets, close it, double close it, semicolon. See, I added because now I know that I've already got the format clean over there and there's no errors. So if there is any more errors, it's basically inside that patch function. But I set it up this way for myself, so it's just easy for me to understand what is going on at this point. You can do it however you see fit. This has just been my style to actually make that work like that. All right, so I need to add that title and I need to go get that control name. So I put that in as text. I should have just put that as title text. And I will do just that. Come back here. Title text. Oopsies. Title text dot text. And this is basically the first patch function. All I did was went ahead and patched that simple title, and I've received the ID name over here. So that's the first section of that patch function. All right. Next, I'm going to do another thing, which is now, I'm going to add the comment. Is I'm going to update patch function the links to, not links. I'm going to update patch function, update with patch function the attachments and the choice. Neat. All right, so now this is going to be the second patch function. Now this patch function is going to be a little different. Obviously, I am patching it to that SharePoint list, the same one, but here's my next formula. It's going to be a lookup. And in the lookup, I'm going to go back to that SharePoint list again, and I'm going to put a comma, and I'm going to say, hey, I only want you to patch it to that ID number, and that ID number, I'm going to get it from that Tim's collection over here. See how it's all making sense now, how this is working? Nice. So I just put that as Tim's collection dot ID. And the reason I have to put the dot ID is because the way we patched it, we didn't specifically say, get me just the ID. We said, get me the entire item, and the ID is part of that item. All right, so now I can go and do that, and comma, because I've given it the value, and I'm going to do the exact same things. I'm going to open brackets, I'm going to close brackets, but I'm not going to close the curly brackets, because here's where the fun and interesting part comes, is you add in the form dot updates. And then after that, I can go ahead and close it, semicolon, getting an error, because I missed adding a close brackets over here. And this is very important. So let's actually focus on this for a few seconds. What's happened is we're patching it, but we're not really patching any item inside the SharePoint list. What we are taking is we are taking information from the form updates. So just to repeat that, yes, we are still patching it, but we haven't added anything inside that curly bracket saying that, oh, like we did about the title one. I'm not adding into that, but I am still patching it, taking it from the form updates. And from the form update, I'm going to take in the choice type column, which is, that one choice that you selected. And the important one is the attachments. We're taking care of all of this. So this process is so much more easier than going through other hoops of, getting the multiple attachments, saving it into another collection, getting the values of that collection, and then putting another complicated patch and for all and if and making it all that complicated. No, this is the simplest way to do it as far as adding multiple attachments to a single list item is just this formula. Go ahead and do it first patch, which is the one we did over there. Grab that ID. Second, do another patch. You're not really putting anything in the curly brackets over there, but you are just putting the form updates, and the form updates, it takes the updated one and puts it over there. So technically, for those of you who are interested, we are going ahead and doing 2 calls to that SharePoint list item. The first call is to create the item, and then the second call is to go ahead and save it. So technically that happens in the back end. But look at this, it is so much more easier now. I didn't have to put any complicated formulas. It is literally that simple as that. And then the following ones are just very simple formulas. What I'm going to do is just set the form variables to view mode. And that's going to be, I take that set, var, form status, comma, put that into view. All right. And then I'll also go ahead and reset some values. So I'll reset values, and that is going to be done in a concurrency. So yep, saw that as an error because I put a comma and not a semicolon, and I'll put it in the concurrent one, so that should move a little bit faster. And inside I'm going to say, yes, I'll reset the form, reset form. I'll also reset the title text that we added, title text. And again, it was just a comma there, and we are good. So let's just drag this up and take a quick look. First one, patched it, got the ID, used the ID, patched it with the updates form, and then we just went ahead and reset the value of the view, and we took care of that over there. So now what I can do is I can actually do a quick test to see how successful we have been. So let's go check. I'm going a quick save. I won't publish it yet. We'll go ahead and do a play. Yeah, let's do a play. So here I'm going to say test 1. Oh, a couple of things happened. The edit form didn't show up. Okay, come on, Daniel. That was a rookie mistake. And if you all have used these edit forms again and again, you know that we've got to put some stuff in the default mode over there. All right, good. Glad this happened. Let's go and fix that. Because in the default mode, there is a couple of things we need to do over here as well. In fact, not in the default mode, but also in the item. So in the item, let's actually work in the default mode first. So in the default mode, I again want to force the form to behave based on what is the status over there of the variable. And this is again how we do it. Correct. Come back out there. I'm going to keep that form edit as is. I'm going to hit shift and enter, and I'm going to type an if function over there in the formula. And here's what I'm going to type. I say, now I've spent all this time assigning values to that variable. Like if you're in this situation, make it view, this situation, new, edit. Now let's make use of that. And this is what it is. So if the form status, if the value of the form status, which is var form status equals view, all right, then I want to make that form mode into a, guess what, view. Exactly. So what I'm going to do is I can just copy these really fast. So now if the form status view equals new, then form edit is going to be, form mode is going to be edit. And then in this case also, if it's going to be in edit, then actually if form is in new, then it's going to be in new. And then if it's going to be status is going to be in edit, then let the mode also be edit. So this part was kind of simple to understand and grasp. Okay, now now that I've started using the variables, it's making more sense what it is that you are doing. So I'm kind of glad you're just seeing that. So we took care of the default mode. Let's go and take care of the item as well. And in the item, I want to make sure that the form will only display data based on the value of that variable. So check this out. I come over here now and I'm going to put in an if function. And again, I hit shift enter because I want to put in the new value, new line. And let's start again with the value of the variable. If the value of the variable equals new, right? If it is new, then go let the form have the default values of that SharePoint list. So that's what I do. Default over here, I type in defaults, go grabs the SharePoint list, and taking care of that one. Next, let's work on the view. If the form status of the value of the form status var is view, then just get me the selected part of the gallery, because that's what I want to see. I want to see the selected part of the gallery, and that was gallery, so I just say selected. And if you haven't already guessed, I'm pretty sure you have, it's the exact same for the edit as well. I just want you to let the form have, again, whatever is the selected part of the value, because I'm going to be editing that. So that was the two important things. Is when it came to the form, we completely skipped it, but when we did a test, we found out it was blank and immediately know where to fix it, which was the default mode. We had to go and add this function over here, our formula, and then we added into the item as well. So go and save that. I won't publish it. Now let's go and do a test. So I click on that. Form shows up. Aha, it went ahead, and now the first one that I selected, it's showing me this image is over here. Well, it's actually not showing the image. So let's see why that's happening. So go back to our gallery, which is that gallery. That's fine. It's the gallery in our the sub gallery inside that gallery. So that's why, because I didn't put in anything, I left it as a sample image. I'm going to say this item, and here's a very important thing that we need to do. It's giving you a couple of choices. It's giving you the absolute URI, and it's giving you ID value. You do not want to use absolute URI. Absolute URI, and if you know, URI is just another way to say URL, and we don't want to use the URL of the SharePoint list attachment image. We want to get the value, because there's a huge difference. Even though they're same, they do the exact same, they focus on the image. URI goes and gets the URL of the image. And through Power Apps, if you're using that URL specifically for that SharePoint list image, then it behaves as if it's going through a browser and is going to request an authentication. But it doesn't ask you for a username and password. I mean, it shouldn't, because that would be kind of weird. Users have to use an app and then put an authentication. But it doesn't. But what happens is the images don't show. But if you want to force it to go through the SharePoint connector, not as if it's going through a browser, but through SharePoint connector, go ahead and use this item value. And then your images start showing up. See what I showed over there? Did it, and it started working. So kind of keep that in mind, all right? So that's also showing up. Let me go in and fill the template fill over here. That way I can know which one is the one selected. And for that, I put in an if function. If, and I'll say this item dot is selected. And it doesn't seem to like that over here, because I have to have dot is selected. Yeah, if it is, then just give me, say, a light, some color, light blue. Comma. All right, so now I know which one is selected. Kind of always helps me understand. So if I do that over here, I got 2 attachments. This one, I got 1 attachment. Cool, let's do a test. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on plus. And in fact, let's click on something. Click on something. Click over here, and when I selected that, it should be new, but for some reason, I'm not getting it. So I click on it, what's going on? And the reason is because, see, this gallery is going ahead and populating the whole thing. What I was trying to do was select on just the icon, which is specifically, I was trying to select this next icon. So I need to bring that to the front over here. And to do that, I come back to the view. In the order, I bring that to the front. I'm going to do the same thing for the trash as well. So I'm going to go and make sure I get the trash icon, come over here, bring that to the front. And the reason I knew that wasn't working is because when I was clicking it, I should not see the form as if I'm editing. So right now I can see the status over here of the variable is in new. When I click over here, it sets to view. The form is in view. It's kind of understood when I was testing it. It's like, yeah, something's wrong. And I bet you it's the secondary gallery, which is over everything else and kind of hiding it. All right. So now we're in the new. This is great. Let's go ahead and click on plus. If I click on plus, it is in new. Now it shows me that it's in new status out there. So I'm going to now put in, say, test 2. This will be category, and I'll call that as work. And I'll go ahead and add, say I'll add a few images. And let's see. Yeah, these are all good. Images got a little overwritten because of the name. That's fine. And I'll go ahead and save it. Saving it, it is going ahead and saving it. I can see the images coming through. Like I said, the gallery in the gallery sometimes goes ahead and makes that extra work, and that's what example I was showing over here. I'm in the studio, that's why it's making a little bit of extra effort and time over there. In the real app, it moves a lot faster, so kind of thought I'll let you know on that. But there you go. It went ahead and refreshed it and showed us all the images. If I go into the SharePoint list, as you can see, it is the new one that I added over there. If I click on it, you can actually see the attachments coming through. So it's working, and it's working really well. Now, in conclusion, I want to show a couple of things as well. So we are not in the conclusion yet. What I can do is this one is actually just the URL of this item, which is the same thing. I don't need it. I'll go ahead and take care of that, remove it. Great. What I do want to do is also focus on now the editing. Now on the edit function, we've gone ahead and put the variable status for form status as edit. That is great. But I need to make changes to the save button, because the save button right now has everything only for adding a new item. But if I'm going to do a save after I hit edit, I need to make this one little change in the formula. So let's go take a look at that. I'm going to put all of this inside another if function. So it'll kind of look like an if function, and the first step of the if is all of this, and then the second step is a very simple step, because I need to differentiate which one is a new entry versus which one is an edit. And you know what, before I do that, let me show you why this is important. So check this out, okay? I am coming in over here. I've selected that. I even go ahead and click on the edit, because see, I'm in the value of the variable is edit. And if I go and now say for that image, I do not have, you know, I want to just take out the picture of Finn. All right, I'm going to take out the picture of Finn, and say I want to add another image too. So let me go and grab something very conspicuous. Put in, say test, whatever. I'll save it. What happens is, yep, if you've already guessed it, it didn't edit it. It added it as a new item. And that's because the edit only changed the variable, but it still went ahead and gave us the same formula, which is to basically go ahead and create that first patch and then the second patch. So I need that variable saying that, hey, this is an edit that is going on, and I need to dictate that because I've set the value of the variable as edit. I need to actually use it. And we are going to use an if function to take care of that. And here it is. It is so simple, but yet it is so powerful. If var status equals new, if it is new, then yeah, go ahead and do all of this, okay? All of this. And we will close it right up till here, okay? If it is new, then go ahead and do all of that. However, if the var form status equals edit, then all you do is basically submit that form. That is it. Submit the form, and I close it. And now I gotta make sure that I give another semicolon down here. And now it'll work. So let's do another test. So I come now, and I'll go ahead and try to replicate. Okay, so this one was a test that I did. I'll select it, shows me that. In fact, it missed something else too. Right there, the default is the gallery dot selected. So it basically selected title. So it's going ahead and getting that now. So when I go ahead and now edit it, watch the value of the variable changes. It is edit. I'm going to go ahead and now add a new image. So picture added. If I go and save it, I shouldn't get a new one. It'll go ahead and update just that one. And you see another picture come through. See, it works. So key thing over here was that in the save option for the edit, we had to go ahead and make sure that we added that little if condition in the exact same save button, and it went and worked. It actually worked. So wow, we covered a whole lot. Thank you for sticking around till the end of this video. Key takeaways is that now SharePoint lists, you can go ahead and add multiple attachments to a single list item. So you don't have to go ahead and go through additional work of maybe even using a document library and saving documents over there relating it to the SharePoint list. I mean, granted, you can go ahead and do that specifically for multiple items, multiple images, but you can go ahead and use the SharePoint list item as well. And I made the formula so much more easier by just using a combination of the patch function and the edit form over there. Now, in the end, one thing I want to do is I've got 2 videos that I've got. I'll put their links over there. They are kind of the next levels for images, because now that you've uploaded the images, I've shown you how you can automatically tag them using Cognitive Services Vision. And tagging an image is huge because it makes the search a lot easier. You don't have to search for an image based on what the exact image name is. The Cognitive Services will already tag saying that, okay, this image has a puppy or it has a face or something. It'll tag it with those, and then you just search for puppy. So kind of take a look at that. But as always, keep power apping.